your mother. It's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eat teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia. Bo, Sheila, and Zach kicking it cooler than 3 penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo, Sheila, and Zach coming at you with sets and things flapping.
We are going to rip out the hearts of other podcasts. We are going to bite off their eyeballs. We're going to start every segment watching the scene from The Last of the Mohicans where the guy takes a bite out of the other guy's heart. We may not be good, but we're going to be nasty. We're going to reflect the blue-collar nature of this city. Heads up before we start the show. Got to let you know about the Athletics Black Friday deal, which starts Monday night at 5 p.m. Eastern. The Athletics great writing is just $1 a month for 12 months. Go to theathletic.com/birdswithfriends to lock in our very best price of the year. Just $1 a month for new subscribers. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a post-game edition of Birds with Friends. Bo Wulf, Zach Berman, Marissa Morris here to talk about the feisty Philadelphia Eagles, 5-6, potentially in pole position for the playoffs. We've got a lot to get to. We'll get to some controversy in super shortcasting, but I do believe we do have to start, Zach. A lot of people here excited for the show. A lot of people in the chat, they want to know, give us your breakdown of the candidates for the Florida head coaching job.
I could do that. This was a big win for the Eagles. I mean, if you want me to give my 30 seconds on Florida, I think Florida's a different job than a lot of these other jobs in that I don't think a coach with regional ties matters so much. The Florida brand is big enough, and you can also there's so much talent there. I would look at Matt Campbell if I was them. If I were them, I think they would probably look at the two Stoopses, Bob and Mark. My guess is that they make a call to Mario Cristobal. I think a wild card to watch would be Dan Quinn, who was there as a defensive coordinator back before he was the Seahawks D coordinator, and he has that juice from I think he could be a really good college coach. Anyways, I would hire.
What about
Matt
Urban
Campbell.
going home?
Is he leaving Jacksonville?
I don't know. I mean, feels like the kind of thing he would do.
I don't know. Big win for the Eagles, though.
And who would you hire if you had a blank check? Who would you hire?
I would go after Matt Campbell for that job.
Okay. And what about Troy?
Troy's an interesting one. Troy, they haven't been the same since Neil Brown left. I would probably go back to
since DeMarcus Ware, I'd say.
No, Neil Brown was a good coach there. I honestly, I would need a little more time to think about the Troy job. To see what's out there, but I honestly, like, I would look at like South Alabama's program, and I don't know. Let's talk about the Eagles, okay?
Okay, that's fine. You indulged us. You made Marissa laugh. We can move on. All right, plenty to get to here as the Eagles go to 5-6 with a 40-29 win that at times was not even that close. It seemed like they were completely dominating, but then in the fourth quarter, it seemed like things were getting a little bit hairy. So you got to see a good offensive performance, another big running game. Jalen Hurts with the sort of game-salting, jukey touchdown late in the fourth quarter. You saw the defense dominate in the first half and then sort of let things get a little bit close as the game went on. You saw your boy, Trevor Siemian, throw a couple picks, but made a couple nice plays as well. Zach, big picture, we've talked about it. The Eagles right now, half a game out of the playoffs as currently constructed, but they've got a couple tiebreakers to their advantage. Of course, they've got a very easy schedule down the stretch. Their next 5 games in no particular order, twice against the Giants, twice against Washington, once against the Jets. Do you think this team is going to the playoffs? How do you feel? More importantly, how does Emily feel?
Well, let's talk about the Eagles here. I think they're very well positioned here to go on a run. I think the way they're playing now is a sustainable model for the opponents they have coming up. I don't think it's a sustainable model long term, and I still think they would be susceptible against top quarterbacks, let's say. But you look at these next 5 games, I think you're looking at 3-2 to be conservative. 4-1's not out of the question.
If they go 3-2, that's a disappointment, I would say.
If they're 8-8 going into week 18, that's a good situation for this team, right? I think if you said going into the year they'd be 8-8 going into a week 18 game against Dallas,
not before the year anymore.
You would have taken that. But a month ago they were 2-5. But they're playing really well right now, and I give credit all around. I give credit first off to Nick Sirianni. I give credit to the players. It's a players' game. The players are making plays out there. But Nick Sirianni.
First of all, I give credit to the man upstairs.
Nick Sirianni has adjusted midstream here. He switched what the offense was. It's working. He's trusting that offensive line. The fact that you ran this way against New Orleans, and we'll get to that's
Jim Bob Cooter, of course, the man upstairs.
It's really impressive there. The defense has done this against mediocre quarterbacks all year long, and they continued it today. I thought that I think Jalen Hurts, there are still plays to be desired with his arm. I thought the last 2 games were better passing games for him, but the way he ran today was outstanding. And look, when the offense put up 33 points, defense returned to 1 for a touchdown.
You won't give him the 40.
Well, quite literally.
I know, but you just like, you want to measure it by points, but you still have to ding him just a little bit.
I thought that Jalen Hurts, the way he ran the ball, the way the Eagles ran the ball, it's really impressive. And this is the best way I would put it, is that you talk about toughness, you talk about physicality. All coaches say things like that. But if you're going to beat the Eagles, you need to wrestle this offensive line, which is a physical, talented offensive line, and you need to tackle these running backs and this quarterback 35, 40 times a game. And that wears on an opponent. So I'm not turning into a run the ball guy, but I think when you look at what the Eagles present, it's going to be like to beat this team, you have to be willing to be beat up, because they're playing a physical brand of football that works.
Well, think about just this game in terms of what you're talking about, right? Sean Payton embarrassed by last year's game, right? They were on a huge winning streak coming into that game. They had a chance to, chase and lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC. They come in and they lose to Jalen Hurts making his debut as a huge underdog, and the Eagles run for 246 yards, or I think 246 or 248. So coming into this game, Peyton is like trying to stop that from happening again. He knows that the Eagles have turned to this run first offense, so he's prepared for that. He's like they knew exactly what was coming their way, and they had no chance. They were blown off the ball. This is the number 1 run defense in the NFL. The Eagles say, we're not going to run away from that. We're going to lean into it. And they dominated up front. They ran for 242 yards. As I tweeted, the Saints haven't given up 200 yards rushing. They've only done it twice in the past 6 seasons. This has always been a very good run defense in recent years. And both of those 2 games are the 2 Jalen Hurts starts. So, with this team, I am a run the ball guy. That is how they are built, and it is. We've talked about it's like a little bit of a bizarre thing that it took 8 games for them to lean into that personality, but that's okay. It was a rookie head coaching staff. They're allowed to make adjustments as the season goes on. They're allowed to grow. They've done the same thing on defense. The way they are now, it's a very good offense. This is really impressive.
Exactly. And to circle back to what I was saying about Hurts, in the passing game, when you said this is a good offense, he converted 2 critical 3rd and 6s on the first touchdown drive, 2 passes to Goddard
that came out right on time. That were really nice.
And And so that's where I'm making sure I'm not getting caught up in the overall passing stats, and I'm looking more at the at play, specific plays. Is he making the passes when he needs to make the passes? And you joke with me that I'm a third down guy, but the key for this Eagles offense is staying on the field. Just
I
keeping.
only joke because it's not just like, for instance, the 2nd and 12 completion to JJ Arthega-Whiteside. Like that counts too. It was on 2nd and long. Like
Sure. I just think third downs are critical downs, but that's besides the point. I will say this real quick, and I don't mean to do an aside. The JJ Arthega-Whiteside catch, which Nick Sirianni deemed the play of the game. I think in JJ Arthega-Whiteside's hometown in South Carolina, they might have heard Bo laugh in the press box. Bo let out a really loud laugh that you would think, like, if you're not a Birds with Friends listener, you wouldn't understand why this guy in the press box was laughing so hard at this moment.
it was unbelievable. They've been setting this play up for 4 years, for 3 years. Unbelievable.
For 8 weeks.
He has had something close to 60 offensive snaps this year. He's run something like 35 or so routes. Not a single target. They've been slow playing this tendency breaker for 2/3 of a season. And here we go. Game on the line. Need a play. Who do you dial up? You dial up JJ.
Well, I don't think he was the first read on the play, but
I think he's always the first read.
He made
as
it
far
work.
as I'm concerned.
It was a big play, but I give Jalen Hurts a lot of credit overall because I think that he's such a force on the ground. He's making these timely passes. He's protecting the football. This was another game. I know he had 2 plays in that Broncos game, 1 interception and 1 near interception. But overall, like we talked about, he's taking care of the ball, and you're seeing him develop and evolve in front of our eyes. So I am really impressed with this offense. And I know I was harder on the offense than you and Sheil were 2 weeks ago. I'm in on the way they're playing. I think they're making it work with their personnel, with their offensive line. I'm curious to see Jordan Howard's injury here. It's a knee injury, left the game, but Miles Sanders being back adds another dimension too. You saw him on that 25-yard run. Miles Sanders can be electric in space. I thought Sanders put it well. They're going to run until they can't do it anymore. And I think during these next 5 weeks, it's sustainable. I think that I still don't think you're going to beat the NFL's heavyweights playing like this, but that's not the barometer for the Eagles this year. If they're playing a relevant Week 18 game, I give a lot of credit to that coaching staff, and I give a lot of credit to those players, especially considering where they were when they boarded the flight from Las Vegas.
You love that flight from Las Vegas. We'll get to that. A lot of people in the comments talking about the Jordan Mailata one-armed pancake. That was great. He was good in this game. As it comes to Jalen Hurts, like, everything is sort of tinged with, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? And we've talked about that's, I think a bit of a false framing. But like, you just look at what he's doing this season, and it's not like aesthetically the way that I would dream up an offense, and I think that certain people in the organization, obviously, this is not what they would dream up. But he is, the Eagles' offense entered this game 8th in offensive DVOA, and I know you don't want DVOA numbers, but
I have no issue with DVOA.
They're
use DVOA in my copy.
Okay. They're only going to go up. After this, they played a very good defense, and they put up 33 offensive points, but 40 points on the scoreboard. So that's only going to rise. And Jalen Hurts, in terms of like this offense, this is his offense. He accounts for 75% of the offense with his arms and his legs, which is the second highest percentage in the league after Lamar Jackson. So if Jalen Hurts, like, this is the offense, and it's a top quartile offense, it's one of the best offenses in the league, like, year 2, what more do you want?
Yeah. Look, I agree. I mean, when you say what more would you want, more prolific. I'm sorry to hear that. If you want to tend to the crying
Okay.
baby, I can hold serve here. But I would say that what more could you want? I guess, you know, Patrick Mahomes in the passing game, right? But although not today. But overall, no, you're absolutely right. They found an offense that worked, that is working with Jalen Hurts. And the key, by the way, I keep going back to it, is this offensive line. With the way that offensive line's playing, I think a lot of it's Hurts, but a lot of it, more of it, I would say, is this offensive line. They're leaning into their strength. We said going back to the preseason, the Eagles' biggest advantages are along the lines of scrimmage. And both lines of scrimmages have been banged up this year, losing Brandon Graham on defense, losing Brooks and Sayamalu on offense. But especially on the offensive line, they are making it work. And I give them a lot of credit. Again, I keep going back to that. I'll give them credit where it's due. They're making it work with what they have.
I tweeted out the stat about their rushing yards over the last 4 games, 890 rushing yards, which is like very rare company for the modern day NFL. The last decade, the only teams who have done that are one Marshawn Lynch stretch, one Derrick Henry stretch, and then several stretches of Lamar Jackson's Ravens teams. And I think, like, we talked about before the season, why not do what the Ravens did and sort of build the offense around Jalen Hurts? It took them half a season to do it, but it's working. So just to close the book on Hurts, 13 of 24 for 147 yards, sacked 3 times, although 2 of those were sort of Bobo sacks. And then he had 69 nice rushing yards to go along with 3 touchdowns. We talked a lot about the running game, the running back rotation heading into this game, Zach. Miles Sanders is active and has 16 carries for 94 yards, but that doesn't tell the whole story because he had one very costly fumble in the first half deep in Eagles territory. They were up 14-0. It looked like they were about to run away with the game, and his turnover led to the Saints' only touchdown of the first half. He then almost did the exact same thing with a fumble that was called for forward progress and probably shouldn't have been. So that would have been 2 terrible fumbles, and it seemed at that point that the Eagles were leaning more on Jordan Howard. Howard had 10 carries for 63 yards before leaving with the injury. Were you surprised at the way things played out, and did the way things play out change anything that you thought heading into the game?
No and no. I'm not surprised. I thought and I wrote that it was going to be a Sanders-Howard combination, and I thought it made sense, too, that Gainwell was the one who was inactive. I thought that they complement each other well. I'm not going to say besides the fumble, because you can't do it besides the fumble when you fumble inside your 10-yard line. That's
Twice,
a costly
basically.
play.
I mean, he did do it.
Exactly. But I'm also not one of these people who is who's belittling. I was going to use a different term here, but I want to be cognizant of what I say. Who's belittling Miles Sanders? I think Miles Sanders has special home run ability, and that enhances the offense. I acknowledge that Miles Sanders gets too many negative runs or stuff that the line of scrimmage runs and needs to do a better job with that. And I like Jordan Howard's running style. I like that he's falling forward. I think he brings a physical presence. And frankly speaking, I think that if Jordan Howard's knee is the type of injury that causes him to miss time, the Eagles are going to miss that physical dimension, because I don't think they get it from Boston Scott. I don't think they would get it from Kenny Gainwell. That said, I think this offense is better for having Miles Sanders in it and running as often as he did. And it's what I've always said about Miles Sanders too. You look at the final stats today. He was what, 5.4 yards per carry or thereabouts.
5.9.
Yeah, 5.9. So look, he
great Jason Kelce block on that 25-yarder.
It came in chunks, and I give him credit there.
He ran out of bounds again late in the fourth quarter before the Jalen Hurts touchdown run.
I was writing at that point, so yeah.
What are you doing? Like, we got on him for this earlier in the season. Like, you don't learn? Stay in bounds, dude. But yeah, I mean, you basically saw in this game the difference between those guys. Like, Miles Sanders is better on those outside runs where he can get into space and let his wheels take over. and Jordan Howard was better in between the tackles.
Bottom line,
What you would expect.
I'd rather have Sanders and Howard together than Howard and Scott together. So this notion
Sure.
that they shouldn't have messed with what's working and Sanders should have a diminished role.
I'd rather have Howard and Isley together.
Like Howard Isley, the point guard.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with what we're discussing.
I mean, it's a Howard.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, I'd rather have Howard and Sanders together. You threw me off at the top of the show with that Florida and Troy. I was so ready to talk about this Eagles game. I figured if you asked me, it'd be like a throwaway thing at the end of the show.
I told you I was going to start the show with that. I told you that in the
not start the show. You said you wanted to ask me about it, so I figured and you teased it on Twitter, and I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I
the
could
Troy
not have
job
more
to come
heads
up.
up.
I literally have not. I didn't even realize Troy fired their coach until like a half hour ago. So
I didn't know that until somebody asked about it in the chat.
Gotcha.
So I mean, just
So,
absolutely no idea.
Yeah,
I don't know what's making Marissa laugh so much.
I just like the fact that like the whole conversation just shifted because Zach's finally like, how did we really start the show like that?
Yeah, it's a big win. I wasn't here for the Super Bowl episode, but I feel like if the Eagles wanted a Super Bowl, Bo would start it with something about something he saw in the hotel room that night.
Not true. Not true. I mean, this game was not the Super Bowl. That's
Okay.
when you get to the Super Bowl, you can talk about the Super Bowl.
Every
So
game.
then we can maybe. What did you want me to lead with? Jalen Reagor having a catch for a -1 yard.
I want you to lead with
Big
the
play
Eagles
for me.
beating the Saints, rushing for over 200 yards. Maybe Jalen Hurts' touchdown. Maybe Darius Slay pick six. He's had 3 touchdowns in 4 weeks. I mean, we can go on down the list. A lot of things other than the Florida and Troy coaching jobs.
Yeah, but you knew it was coming.
All right, let's get. To
All right, why don't we take a little break? We'll come back and get into some more specifics, and then move over to the defense.
If you're looking for ways to skip the trip to the post office and dodge all that hectic holiday shopping traffic, why not save time and money with Stamps.com? Stamps.com lets you compare rates, print labels, and access exclusive discounts on UPS and USPS services all year long. It just makes sense, especially if your business sends more mail-in packages during the holidays. Whether you're selling online or running an office or side hustle, Stamps.com can save you so much time, money, and stress during the holidays. Access all the post office and UPS shipping services you need without taking the trip and get discounts you can't find anywhere else, like up to 40% off USPS rates and 76% off UPS. Going to the post office instead of using Stamps.com is kind of like taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Just going up a couple of floors, sure. Take the stairs. Walking up 30 flights a day, you could use a break. If you spend more than a few minutes a week dealing with mail and shipping, Stamps.com is a lifesaver. You'll save so much time and money, you'll wonder why you didn't start sooner. Save time and money this holiday season with Stamps.com. Sign up with promo code BWF for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com, click the microphone at the top of the page, and enter code BWF. When the moment for intimacy arrives, you need to be ready. Roman ready. Whether you've been in a relationship for years or are just getting started, having the confidence that comes from preparation means you're free to enjoy the moment when the moment comes. Even though you are far from ordinary, the truth is that ED is really common. In fact, 52% of guys aged 40 to 70 experience some form of erectile dysfunction. Go to GetRoman.com/BWF now to speak to a U.S. licensed healthcare professional about erectile dysfunction and get $15 off your first month of treatment. Roman Ready is confidence personified. It is the self-assurance that comes from knowing you've prepared yourself for the moment when intimacy arrives. Roman's system is completely confidential and totally discreet. No big logos or labels or packages. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet. Go to Get Roman.com/BWF today, and if you're prescribed, get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. Make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this fall. Roman ready.
All right, Zach, let's get into Swooper Sorecasting. Shield enters the week with 4 1/3. You're at 3 1/3. I'm at 2 1/3, needing a win in the worst way. Shield. This was an interesting week because we all had exactly 4 turkeys in the air. Shield had intentional grounding is called. Almost happened. Trevor Siemian throwing one at the ground, but not called. There's a mention of Jordan Mailata being a freezer or Landon Dickerson being a fridge during the broadcast. Seemed like this was good value for Shield, but must not have happened because our mentions did not blow up. The Eagles rushed for fewer than 73 yards. Obviously, that did not happen. And a non-QB completes a pass. That did not happen either. So a shutout for Shield. In comes Zach. Malcolm Jenkins is involved in a personal foul penalty. Did not happen. Miles Sanders plays the most snaps of any Eagles running back. You got that for 6. I think he got that. I don't officially know, but I'm pretty sure you got that. Jalen Hurts runs for a touchdown and does the gotta let him hang celebration. He ran for 3, but he did not drop the hands toward his nether regions. And the Eagles defense forces a turnover on downs on a 4th down in 2 or less. You bid up a lot for that. You got it for 9, but that did not happen. So
You won.
controversy here. Zach, because there's a punt in this game that lands and rolls and rolls and rolls, and it looks like it goes out close-ish to the 9-yard line, and it's spotted directly at the 10. And I said to you, I was cheering for that in the press box next to you. I said, that's a point for me. However, I said to Marissa, a punt lands out of bounds and is spotted directly on a yard line divisible by 5. Now, what I meant by that was land, like the first landing is out of bounds. It flies out of bounds. Now, I suppose
I'm really surprised you're admitting that.
I have always been a fair arbiter of Swooper Sorecasting. Okay, so I thought that was going to be my point, but when I read what I wrote and when I thought of what I was thinking, my inclination is to say it doesn't count. What do you guys think?
Wow, I'm blown away by the honesty. I don't have any words. Zach?
I defer to Marissa here. I honestly did not put much thought into it. But I will say, if I tend to think on All Matters podcast, whatever, I guess whatever Marissa deems fair is what I believe in.
I mean, if he's saying he thinks it shouldn't count, then how can I allow it? We know if Shield was here, he wouldn't count it.
We had talked about it
Right?
being, the flying out of bounds, and we did get the clarification email from the listener who explained that it is a cool system. The back judge or the field judge is looking at where it crosses out of bounds from his angle, and he stays there with his hand raised while the side judge then walks and walks and walks and walks until the back judge drops his hand, because that's the angle that he was. And so it's not quite as arbitrary as it seemed, but it's still not the most precise.
It's still such a random Super Sorecasting thing. I'm flabbergasted that this actually occurred and it's become a controversy.
It's pretty great that it happened. I mean, maybe not as unlikely as when the flag actually hit a player, but
And like
that was
early
pretty-
in that game, that was probably the best Super.
I mean,
Swooper
easily Jalen
moment.
Reagor's highlight of the season, as far as I'm concerned. All right, I say we don't give it to me.
Okay, fair.
Okay, it's not really what I was going for. And then I put in so much for the Malcolm Jenkins video, and I got a heads up from a little birdie this morning that they were preparing something, that there was maybe going to be something. He wasn't sure, he or she, and I kept thinking it was going to happen, and it didn't happen. So I don't get that one. I did, however, get the Eagles win by double digits.
Yes, that was a
So
good
I
one.
pull in for a tie for you. And so, wait, hold on a second. I also had Tyree Jackson has more receiving yards than Jalen Reagor. And Tyree, of course, had no catchers in this game, but Jalen Reagor had -1 receiving yards. So that's a win.
That's a win.
And that's a win for me. So
There you go.
three and a third for me. We're all tied up. We're one back of Shield. The race is on, baby. Super Storecasting is heating up.
Congratulations. Well done.
That Tyree Jackson one was yours, Zach, too.
It was. It was. And then I actually, when I put it together, I did account for the possibility of negative yards for Jalen Reagor. I did think that was a Jalen Reagor possibility.
Okay. Is there anything else on the offense that we should get to before we get to the defense?
Just so since we last spoke, the Eagles signed Dallas Goedert to a contract extension, a big contract extension, make him, in terms of average annual value, one of the top 3 highest paid tight ends in the NFL, put him a little bit over Mark Andrews. And I thought that Dallas Goedert showed today basically why, in part, why they're paying him, right? He looks really good out there. He's a complete tight end. He's a threat in the passing game. He has real good hands, and he's going to keep getting better. So I'm impressed by Goedert.
I'm impressed by Goddard too. It's hard for me to talk about his contract without also looping in the Maddox extension. If we want to talk about that now,
Okay.
which I don't love.
Mhm.
I like Avonte Maddox a lot as a guy, as a player. I don't understand what the rush is to sign him right now. And my antenna is always up. My skepticism antenna is always up when the Eagles are like fully committing to a narrative, and which they seem to be doing now. Like, this 2018 draft, what a draft. Like, this is our nucleus. We're going to sign all 4 of these guys. Jordan, like the other 3 guys, you can all make a very strong case that being proactive might save you money in the long run. If Jordan Mailata played a full year as a top 10 left tackle, he would be worth so much more than what he signed for. Josh Sweat has not had a great year, but at the beginning of the season, he was coming off a great training camp. People thought that he was in for a big season, and a young pass rusher like that is going to get paid. So, the contract doesn't look super great already. We'll see how he does down the stretch, but there was a case to be made that you were saving money there. Dallas Goedert, he's being paid like a top 3 tight end, but you're also buying that he's going to get a lot better, and the cap's going to jump and all that stuff. That one makes enough sense to me. But the Avonte thing, like, is Avonte Maddox really going to get paid in free agency when this is the first time he's really shown to be like? I mean, he's playing the best football of his career right now, which is good. But is he gonna like play much better than this? Is there that much upside with him? And is like a nickel corner, is that sticky year over year to lock him up for 3 years? This felt like too much to me.
So I'm not up in arms about it. I agree with you in terms of the urgency for it. I don't think you need to have a sense of urgency to keep Avonte Maddox off the market. I think this is the type of contract that if you offered Avonte Maddox this contract in March, you can probably sign him for it in March. It's not a bad contract. You saw Jackson in Buffalo, their slot corner signed 3 for $24 million a month ago. So this is this is like the market value for that. Now you could say, do you need to pay a second contract for your slot corner? Is that one you can have on a rookie contract for 3-4 years? That argument might have validity too. I like Avonte Maddox's versatility. I think Avonte Maddox can be a winning player. I'm not like up in
He's
arms.
playing winning football.
That's what Jonathan Gannon said. I'm not up in arms about the contract, but yeah, I would say that the other
I'm
3
not
guys
up in arms because we've talked about, like, you've got 5 starters in the secondary. 4 of them were due to be free agents this year, and the other one, Darius Slay, is going to be 31 next year. So, like, you need guys who are going to fill out those positions. You don't want to have to replace everything. And because he's versatile, you can sort of pencil Maddox into a different position, and depending on how you fill out those other spots. It felt too neat to me for them to like, okay, now we're gonna sign the last guy from that draft class. Look at
I don't
this.
think
Here
that
we
was
go.
narrative
Like,
oriented. I don't think it was narrative oriented. I think it was a player that they liked. I would rather spend the 7-8 million a year on my starting safety than my starting slot corner. To be honest with you, now maybe Maddox can be that starting safety. We've discussed that in the past. Or maybe they just view him as that versatile chess piece. Nonetheless, I'm curious to see how this works within the framework of the entire defense.
no.
Like you had a good thing last week on the free agent safeties. That's a really appealing class. There are some free agents, both safety and wide receiver, that I'd be interested in signing if I was Howie this offseason. So is that money I would want to allocate to slot corner? I think that's a fair question, but I don't have that issue overall.
I'm getting killed in this. I had a huge lead in fantasy, and now I'm going up against Eckler and Freiermuth, and it's just salting away. Tough situation for your boy. Okay. Let's talk about well, you know what? Let's take our last break, and then we'll come back and talk about the defense.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after speaking with them, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. By cutting out retail stores, there's no crazy overhead costs that get passed down to you in the form of mystery fees. Instead, Mint just passes on sweet savings direct to you. For people looking for extra savings, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. And if you're not 100% satisfied, Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/birds. That's mintmobile.com/birds. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/birds. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, online therapy. Check out betterhelp.com/theathletic. The best way to think about therapy is through a bunch of analogies. We get our cars tuned up to prevent bigger issues down the road. We get annual checkups and go to the gym to maintain physical wellness and prevent injury and disease. We do chores regularly, well, some of us like me, maybe not like Bo, to avoid a giant mess of a house and roaches. Going to therapy is like all of these. It's routine maintenance for your mental and emotional wellness to prevent bigger issues down the road. Going to therapy doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means you're investing in yourself to keep your mind healthy. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Why invest in everything else and not your mind? This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Birds with Friends listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/theathletic. That's BETTERHELP.com/theathletic.
All right. Back on Birds with Friends. For those of you, in case you missed it in the beginning, theathletic.com/birds with friends. This is your week. $1 a month for new subscribers. If you wait until after Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, just a little tip, little heads up.
If I can give a plea to our audience, if you don't subscribe, Google Bo Wulf, Marissa Morris. Bo wrote an outstanding story on Marissa and her fiance Michael Dunn.
Yeah.
And
Mike
no,
Epps
that's a terrific example of the type of work you get at The Athletic. You can learn about our outstanding producer Marissa and her life more, and Bo you can see Bo's great writing, and Bo will also get subscription credit for it. So it's a
Or you
win
could go
all
to
around.
you could Google Zach Berman bulletproof coffee, and
I
you
wouldn't get
credit
subscription
for it.
credit for that though, because that's from
It's too old.
2000. And,
Just
yeah,
do
it's
the
too
athletic.
old.
Just do the athletic.com/birds with friends.
There
and
you
then we
go.
all
Yes.
get credit,
We all
and you
get
can
credit.
read those stories
And
Okay.
all of Zach's great stories.
Thank you, Marissa.
and some of the ones that aren't great,
Thank you,
but
Bo.
just like all of mine.
Thank you.
I mean, you're only as good as your next, right? So that means all of the ones behind aren't good, right?
I believe
Zach
Zach wrote 2 stories today, so that's pretty
Zach's
impressive.
a double game day man.
Well, that one that goes up during the game is not the. I'm not sending that to the Pulitzer committee. So
Who you
But-
were on, with whom you were on good terms, of course.
the Pulitzer committee.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Maybe one day.
Okay. So listen, just like the offense is allowed to change shape over the course of a season, so too is the defense. And this was a completely different defense in this game than we have seen. Jonathan Gannon essentially threw the base defense out the window in this game. They played all nickel and dime. Jannard Avery, nowhere to be seen. He played 4 snaps in the second half. He wasn't on the field at all in the first game. They were not like the Saints were playing with personnel groupings that you would think did match the base defense with multiple tight ends or with a fullback on the field. Eagles did not take that bait. They played with the nickel. They had this third down pressure package with the dime defense. You know, a month ago, Jonathan Gannon said we're not a dime team. Well, that was like their third down game plan in this game was to play dime and to blitz off of that. It worked to perfection in the first half. You know, we have been saying, like, wondering why force Jannard Avery onto the field. You know, wouldn't you rather just have Avonte Maddox on the field instead of Jannard Avery? That's how they played in this game. I don't know if it's going to be just matchup dependent, if we're going to see those guys play again a lot next week, but a good reminder that, like, you know, patience is probably an important thing as we follow the course of the season. It's easy to overreact every week, but they're allowed to, you know, they're allowed to grow and to change over the course of a season.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear from Jonathan on Tuesday about why they took that approach. My guess is that they thought they could get to they thought A, they can get to the quarterback, and B, they could stop the run with their front four, that they wanted to protect themselves a little bit more on the back end, maybe make it confusing for Trevor Siemian. I honestly don't know, but it clearly worked. It played more to the strengths. Marcus Epps is developing a lot as a safety. They used him in a lot of packages there. And I thought TJ Edwards as your linebacker worked well. A few things there. They were playing.
TJ Edwards has been very good.
Yeah, they had a 14-0 lead fairly early, so perhaps that contributed to it. Davion Taylor left the game.
They had a 14-0 lead in part thanks to TJ Edwards' interception.
Yeah, they had a 14-0. I'm sorry, they lost Davion Taylor fairly early. Perhaps that contributed to it. But overall, I just thought that this defense, I have not been as sour on this defense as the fan base has been. I'm not
great sour, as Will Hill might say.
I'm not defending the way they played against Las Vegas or Los Angeles or Tampa Bay or Kansas City or Dallas. Okay, so that's 5 of
so the good
11
team.
games. Yeah, yes. That said, we have said it. We've discussed it. You've called it the mirror effect, I believe, where they show you.
It has been undefeated.
Exactly. And I keep saying it. You look at their next 5 quarterbacks that they face: Daniel Jones, Taylor Heineke, and whoever the Jets start. This is not going to be the last time this defense looks like this. A matter of fact, the defense is going to look like this more often than not, and maybe every week for the next 5 games they have to buy in there. So I'm real, you know, I
feel like we have a Michael off screen, which is catching my attention.
We have a Michael off screen?
I feel like something's taking Marissa's attention. I feel like I would hope it's Michael.
No. Well, he's not too pleased with this Chargers Steelers game going on.
Oh
And
no.
Steelers just took the lead. Sorry. Trying to.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Zach.
And look, and I know that they let their foot off the pedal a little bit in the second half, both sides of the ball, frankly. You know, the Saints had a 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive and an 11-play, 75-yard touchdown drive in the fourth quarter. You don't like to see that. You know, the Saints ended up with 29 points. You don't like to see that, but I thought this defense did a really good job overall.
So you are not caring about the points when it comes to the defense.
No, I am caring. I literally just said you don't want to see that. Like, I'm not excusing.
Yeah, but you're not factoring it in as the be all end all.
Look, they gave up too many
sorry,
points. Okay, yeah, they gave up too many points.
I got to stir.
Oh, I know. I'm all aware. Okay.
Overall, do what I got to do.
Overall, I like this defense.
Overall, you like this defense? I'm not so sure I would go overall I like this defense, but
well, all right. So let's have a Darius Slay conversation here. By the way,
sure.
Darius Slay is playing really well.
There's a good chance those points are gonna come through for you.
Yeah, it's like 2 points though. Slay sat on that route, jumped it, raced to the end zone.
Yeah, Simeon had to like step up and then like change his arm angle a little bit, got under it, and it just floated out there.
3 touchdowns in 3 weeks here. Had 1 touchdown.
3 and 4, I thought.
Yes, I'm sorry. 3 touchdowns in 4 weeks. 2 in 2 weeks here. Slay's playing at a high level. Slay is giving them what they traded, what they acquired him to do.
What they Romeo acquired him to do. Yeah, he's been very good this year. No doubt about it. He's been very, very good. I can still debate the price. Whether he helped get a coach fired, but I think he's been very good.
Which coach did he help get fired?
The coach who was coaching the team when they traded for him.
You think they got wait? I'm sorry, it's a little late for me here. You think
he was part of a terrible
got Doug
team
Peterson
that helped
fired?
Get Doug Peterson fired? Yeah.
Think Slay got Peterson fired?
I'm not saying he's the person most responsible, but he helped. He didn't save his job.
You made it sound like you thought that he got Slay fired.
Oh man, Marissa, if this is an Austin Eckler touchdown, I'm going to be furious.
It is not Austin Eckler, but it
God.
was a 75-yard Justin Herbert touchdown.
To who?
To who?
No, they're on the 48.
Mike Williams.
Future Eagle Mike Williams.
Future Eagle, huh? You think? Oh, where would they play him? They've got Rager.
He'd be like the perfect compliment for Devontae.
He would. Yeah, that'd be good. I had something else about the defense, but I can't think about it.
So the fourth quarter, I admit, by the way, Marissa mentioned the 2 stories. Again, there's only one that there's one that I put a lot of time, or I should say
they're both
a
good.
lot of time relative to Bo. Bo puts more time in his day after.
Please.
But my post-game column, I put a little more thought and work into that. The thing at the buzzer is mainly to get something up, give our great readers a chance to kind of talk to each other in the comment section and just buys us some time to write. But because I'm usually spending most of the fourth quarter, especially in a game that's out of hand, writing, I didn't watch every play of those final drives the way I typically would. Are you concerned, Bo, with the way the Saints went down the field in the fourth quarter?
Not really. I think concerned is strong. I think they knew like the state of the game, that you could afford to be a little bit more passive on defense. Nick Sirianni said after the game he got too conservative offensively. You'd like to see them be able to shut it down, but I'm not worried about it. I think the first half matters a lot more. That's when they were, playing the way that they expected to play.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Davion Taylor left in this game with an injury and was replaced by Alex Singleton. Don't know about the status that he will have moving forward. His, I believe, was also a knee.
Correct.
And Maddox left and then came back. I think that's it injury wise, right?
Slay he's in the concussion protocol.
But like tweeting nonstop. So really, how bad could it be?
I don't know.
Although I guess to be fair, he would probably need to be comatose to not be tweeting.
There you go.
Not to make light of a serious thing.
Your concussion uncle here.
Yeah. You know what? Here's
Sean Bradley left too.
Sean Bradley, yes. Speaking of concussion uncle, this is a concussion uncle sort of take that I find myself having, which is that as much as I want them to run the ball, like as presently constructed, I also find myself being very like, is Jalen getting hit too much? And there are some quarterback runs that they call in, I think, like low upside situations when I'm like, ooh, couldn't that have just been a running back on that play? Like, you know, he's done a very good job of staying healthy and he doesn't get hit that hard that often. But like, there's a part of me that is like, could we dial it back on the planned quarterback runs just a little bit? I thought I took too many hits today.
Today, yes. I mean, I think Davenport had 4 quarterback hits. And part of that sometimes too is Hurts does that thing where when no one's open, he kind of puts his back to he runs around to the other
does
side.
A little circle, yeah.
Yeah. So I could see that. I mean, Hurts is a tough guy. Hurts never seems
he's
to
that
win.
Dude.
Yeah, he's
as Dallas Goedert said.
Yeah. Look, players really like Hurts. They respect him. They play for him.
No doubt.
And there's something to be said about that. And by the way, it was that way at Oklahoma. It's that way at Alabama. I think that matters. I think when you want your quarterback, you want the room to believe in your quarterback.
I agree with you. I think it matters, but I also think it's like number 96 on the list of things that matter. Like,
well, how you throw the ball is
guys like Tim Tebow too, right?
Sure, but that's part of. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. Guys like Mark Sanchez. I know that. I covered Sanchez. Well, no, I can't speak to Tebow. Tebow was only here for preseason. I don't know.
Well, I'm not talking about with the Eagles.
I don't know what people think, but I can only speak to the teams that I cover. And the teams that I cover, they liked Mark Sanchez.
Well, you know why they liked Mark Sanchez?
Because he was the thermostat and not the thermometer.
Yeah, nice job.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
You who taught him that? Let's see how well you remember it.
Monty Kiffin.
No. Mark Brunell.
Oh.
Yeah, Mark Brunell told him you have to be the thermostat, not the thermometer.
I hope Mark Brunell didn't tell him where to put his money.
Sanchez told me, and then I told my father-in-law. Yeah.
I mean, that was a good joke I just said about the money. That was. I hope he wasn't. I don't know. I hope he didn't hook him up with his financial advisor. You know what I mean?
I don't know. All right, what else here?
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Poor Mark Brunell has to be a quarterback's coach now. He lost all his money. Good player, though. Okay, who do the Eagles have this week, Zach?
New York Giants. New York Football Giants, who play on Monday night. We will see them then. Real quick here, we talked about the schedule at the top of the show. I put this out earlier, and it was before the Cowboys game finished. Here, let me pull up these numbers here. So, combined record of the 6 teams that the Eagles beat, combined record of the 6 teams that beat the Eagles this year is 34-24.
What was that Ben Roethlisberger thing? That was very funny.
Combined records of the 5 teams that beat the Eagles, 19-31-1. I'm sorry. The combined record of the 5 teams the Eagles beat is 19-31-1. This is the most important one. Combined record of the Eagles' next 5 opponents before the Week 18 game against Dallas, 16-32. What's their record going into the Dallas game, in your opinion?
Nine and 7.
If they're 9-7 going into the Dallas game, they're in the playoffs.
I agree. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
So the playoff picture right now, real quick, is if the season ended today, which I I hate that expression because the season doesn't end today, right? There's a lot of time here. But if the season did end today, the Eagles would be the 9th team in the NFC. Of course, 7 make the playoffs. It would be the Saints and the Vikings would be the last 2 teams in the NFC. Then it'd be the Niners as the 8th team and the Eagles as the 9th team.
It's as far as I'm concerned, it's a 3-team race between the Vikings, Niners, and Eagles.
Okay, so you have the Saints out of it. And what about the Panthers, by the way, with Cam in there? You think they have some juice? Or
they lost today to Washington?
And do you think Washington can?
I mean,
Washington's won like
Eagles
3 in a row.
Have some tiebreaker advantages. Yeah, I mean, I think Washington and the Giants are maybe not quite as pushovers, quite as big pushovers as I was thinking. They've rallied a little bit, but I think the Eagles are still better. The Eagles have the 5th best point differential in the NFC, the 8th best point differential in the NFL. They have been over the course of a season not bad, and they are playing better now than they have.
Yeah, I mean the 19 points per game margin of victory, that jumps out to me. That's they're not just narrowly beating teams.
Like that is what the measure of good teams is that you win games by a big margin.
Yes,
and they have done that. 4 of their 5 wins have been by significant margins.
Yes, and I'm looking at some of these stats, and you do like the last time X happened, the last time Y happened, the last time Z happened, and for every one of these things, it's like 2017, right? Which is a good year to be compared to.
Yeah. Okay.
So you said this was so the Eagles have the Giants this week. The Giants play Monday night. We will see what happens with that. They play Tampa Bay Monday night. So the Giants are on a short week, and there's Thanksgiving in there.
Yes, we don't know exactly what our schedule is going to be yet. We gotta huddle on that. Do we do a normal Tuesday show and then come back with a quick Friday preview of the game on Sunday? Do we do a supersized Wednesday show? Let us know what you think with hashtag BWF Shields legs. We'll go to his legs this time.
Okay.
Let us know what you think about the schedule this week. Okay. You got anything else, Zach?
There's a lot.
What did you write about? What can you tease for the people who maybe just they're mostly of the way there? They want to subscribe, but they want to know what they can read from you.
I wrote about what we started at the top of the show here with is
coaches.
Can we?
Sorry,
that was a good one though, Marissa. I wish we can.
What if you filed to our editor just a duplicative thing of what Bruce Feldman already put about who should be the head coach at Florida?
I wish we can edit that out. Especially
I could, but there's no editing.
What are you talking about? That was good stuff.
I literally don't know any candidates for Troy. I gotta think of. I can think of. I don't know why I said South
Troy
Alabama.
Aikman? How about Troy McClure? Troy Smith.
What I wrote about was
Troy
playoffs. Is it reasonable to start talking about playoffs with this team? And in my opinion, obviously, first they must get to a winning record. First they must get to 500. Then they must get to a winning record. But I do think that the playoffs is a reasonable conversation when you look at the way the Eagles are playing, when you look at the schedule that's ahead of them, and when you look at this clutter that is the NFC. The AFC, it's going to be harder to get in. The NFC, I think there are 5 good teams in the NFC. And then the 6 and 7 teams, like you said, it's just like a traffic jam of 5-win teams right now. And who's going to get out of that traffic jam?
How about Troy, New York, the birthplace of Steve Wolf?
How about it? I don't know.
Just an idea. Although I don't know if it was the birthplace, but certainly where he grew up. Got to circle back on exactly where the birth happened.
It's by Albany, correct?
Well, yeah, not too far.
Yeah. I remember when Syracuse was recruiting some players from Troy, New York.
And how did they do?
I think they did successful in getting them.
And then how did the players turn out?
Not so successful.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Birds with Friends. The Eagles pretty handily and impressively taking out the New Orleans Saints 40-29. The running game stays heavy. The defense changes and forces some turnovers, 3 turnovers. And everything's looking good. Everything is in position. We'll see how things go. Just make sure that you thank whoever it is above, the Jim Bob Cooter in the sky, for Thanksgiving this week, for all the blessings that this podcast and the Eagles have given you. For Zach, Marissa, and Sheil, and Elijah, I'm Bo. Thanks for listening. We will talk to you at some point this week. Let us know what you think. Remember the athletic.com/birds with friends for a great deal. And as always, we love you.